Hi there students, welcome back to another video lesson. So after nating i-discuss yung previous video lesson ko, which is constructing a frequency distribution table. So by the way, make sure bago nyo panoorin tong video lesson na ito is napanood nyo na muna yung video lesson na yun. So para mas magkaroon kayo ng guide kung paano nga ba ang pagpapresent ng data using a frequency distribution table. So, meron kasing instances na kailangan yung mag-construct ng frequency distribution table para i-present yung data. Meron din naman kasi na nandiyan na agad, nakapresent na agad yung table. So, para mas maging guided kayo, so better watch it na lang. So, for this video lesson, we will be discussing measures of position in group data. So we are done discussing measures of position using ungrouped data. So ungrouped data, it's because the number of data is less than or equal to 30. So kapag humigit na, like for example 40, 50, 60, 100 and so on, that is the time that we need to use a frequency distribution table to present the data, the information. So let's start. So for our lesson objectives, we will solve problems involving measures of position and then with interpretation. So kagaya nga na po ng aking mga sinabi sa aking mga nakaraang video lesson, so lahat po ng mga learning competencies ng 4th quarter for Grade 10 Mathematics ay nakapaloob halos sa lahat ng ating mga video lessons. So, nung una, in-illustrate natin, and then we calculate specific measure of position. So, dito, nakapaloob pa rin naman po yung calculating specified measure of position. Kaya lang, ang pag-uusapan natin dito is about group data. And then, dun sa ungrouped data, meron din tayong mga examples doon, mga problems wherein naglagay ako ng mga interpretation, yung mga, for example, 25% of the student scores is less than or equal to 30. Ayun, those are what we call interpretation. So, usually kasi kailangan nating i-interpret yung data. Hindi lang natin basta-basta pine-present using a frequency distribution table, sinosolve natin what is the first quartile. It is important for us to interpret para magkaroon tayo ng conclusion. Magkaroon tayo ng generalization kung ano nga bang meron dun sa mga scores, mga data na na-solve natin. And then, of course, for the first video lesson, we will focus on quartiles of group data. So, kagaya ng sa ungroup data, nauna tayo sa quartiles. So, dito, we will no longer use the Mendenhall and Sinchich method as well as the linear interpolation. It's because we are talking about group data. So meron tayong formula mamaya that we need to use, that we will use in order for us to solve the value or the values that we are looking for. So let us now proceed to quartiles of group data. So in computing the quartiles of group data, we must first determine the Q sub 1 and Q sub 3 class. So dun sa quartiles of group data, di ba, bago natin ma-identify yung value ng lower and upper quartile, kinukuha muna natin yung location ng Q sub 1 and Q sub 3. So gayon din dito. So bago natin i-apply yung formula at makuha natin yung values na hinahanap natin, so kailangan muna natin kunin or hanapin yung Q sub 1 and Q sub 3. Okay. So the Q sub 1 class is the class interval where n over 4th score is contained. Okay, so yung location na ating lower quartile, ito po yung tinatawag natin in group data as Q sub 1 class. Okay. Where n, ito po yung total frequency. Halimbawa, there are 40 students, n is equal to 40. Age of 10 students, that n is equal to 10. Okay, so dito, yung n po natin is greater than or equal to 30 na. Since group data po ang ating pinag-uusapan. And then, on the other hand, the Q sub 3 class is the class interval where the 3n/4 score is contained. Okay, so di ba? Q sub 3 is the upper quartile. Okay, and that is 3/4. Okay, so kapag Q sub 1, that is 25% of the scores less than or equal to the lower quartile. And then, kapag Q sub 3 naman, that is 75% of the scores is less than or equal to the upper quartile. So before we proceed to our example, let us have the formula in order to determine the values of the lower and upper quartiles of group data. So ayan. So para mas guided kayo, ano nga ba yung mga variables, yung mga letters na yan na nakikita nyo dun sa formula ng ating quartiles. So Q sub K, so that is quartiles of course. Then LB, so LB, it is the lower boundary of the Q sub K class. So dun sa video lesson natin sa constructing frequency distribution table, so ang ginagawa lang po natin is nagsusubtract tayo ng 0.5 dun sa lower class limit. Okay, so halimbawa, yung class natin halimbawa is 3 to 7. Ayan. So yung lower class natin is 3. So magsusubtract tayo ng 0.5 dun sa 3. So yung lower boundary natin is 2.5. And then N, hindi naman po yan nagbago. N is the total frequency. Okay, so makukuha natin yan kapag pinag-add lahat natin ng mga frequency per class. Next, cumulative frequency before is the cumulative frequency of the class before the Q sub K class. Okay, so mamaya makikita nyo kung paano nag-work yung cumulative frequency na yan. Next, frequency of the Q sub K class. So kapag meron na po tayong Q sub K class, nakuha na natin Q sub 1 class, Q sub 3 class, that is the time na makukuha natin yung frequency. Of course, naka-align lang kasi yun. And then I is the size of the class interval. Okay, so ang class interval natin, so makikita naman yan, magdetermine naman yan sa ating frequency distribution table. So na-discuss ko na rin yan dun sa ating video lesson, dun sa frequency distribution table, kung paano nakukuha ang class interval. So like for example, this one, consider natin tong 3 to 7 na yan. So kung bibilangin natin yung mga range ng mga values na yan from 3 to 7, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, malalaman natin na ang interval is 5. Okay, next. K is equal to n quartile where n is equal to 1, 2, and 3. So since ang quartiles, 3 scores that divide a data into 4 equal parts. So ang sinasolve lang po natin dyan is Q sub 1, Q sub 2, and Q sub 3. Where Q sub 2 is the median. Okay, so kadalasan ang sinasolve lang natin Q sub 1 and Q sub 3, the lower and upper quartile. So dito po sa ating video lesson, i-discuss ko po lahat yan, where n is equal to 1, 2, and 3. So let us have our example. So ages of 50 teachers of San Isidro National High School. Calculate Q sub 1, Q sub 2, and Q sub 3. So ayan po yung ating frequency distribution table na nahahati sa 4 na columns. So yung first column natin, nandoon yung ating mga classes. So yung mga classes natin, 59 to 65, 52 to 58, up to 24 to 30. So as you can see, yung pinakamababang posibleng edad ng isang teacher sa San Isidro National High School is 24. And then yung pinakamatanda is 65. So hanggang 65 lang po tayo dahil yan lang po yung limit ng mga government employee. So once they reach 65, that is the time na kailangan nilang mag-retire, whether they like it or not. Okay, so and then we have there the class interval, so I is equal to 7. So kapag nagbilang tayo from 24 to 30, makikita natin na yung interval is 7 nga. And then, under the second column, we have frequency denoted by F. Okay, so ibig sabihin, sa class na 59 to 65, dalawang teachers meron po tayo dyan. Dun sa 24 to 30 naman, we have 11 teachers. And then kung pinag-add lahat natin, lahat ng mga frequency na yan, so makakukuha natin yung N, which is 50. So what is 50 here? This is the number of teachers of San Isidro National High School. So dito pa lang po kasi sa problem natin, ayan, indicated na po na N is equal to 50. Now, under the third column, LB, so yung lower boundary, so lahat ng lower class natin dyan, lower class limit natin is magsasubtract tayo ng 0.5. So dito sa 59 to 65, we're going to subtract 0.5 to 59. So that will become 58.5. And then yung pinakamabilis na paraan para makuha lahat yan is mag-subtract tayo ng 7. Okay. So 58.5 minus 7, that is 51.5. Minus 7, 44.5. Again, minus 7, 37.5. And minus 7 again, we have 30.5. And then 23.5. Next, for the less than cumulative frequency. Okay, so kailangan nakikita natin kung saan yung lower class. Okay, so dun tayo magsisimula. Okay, so ang gagawin natin, kukunin natin yung frequency ng lower class. So from 24 to 30, ang frequency nun is 11. So kukunin natin yung 11 na yun. And then mag-a-add tayo pataas until such time na ma-reach natin yung 59 to 65. Na kung saan dapat yung last number, yung sum na makukuha natin doon is equal to the total number of frequency, which is 50. Kapag hindi natin nakuha yung 59, it means mali po yung ating sum. So, we'll start. So, 11 plus 9, yung kasunod niya, that is 20. 20 plus 15, that is 35. Another plus 2, 37. Plus 11, 48. Plus 2, 50. So, upon adding, nakuha naman natin yung 50. Equal siya dun sa total number of frequency. So, ayan. Complete na po yung ating table. Now, for the first task, we have to find or we have to solve for the Q sub 1 class. So, how are we going to solve for Q sub 1 class? So, we'll use the formula Q sub K is equal to Kn over 4. So, since Q sub 1 tayo, the value of K is 1. So, Q sub 1 is equal to 1 times N, that is 50, over 4. So, Q sub 1 is equal to 1 times 50, 50 over 4. Next, we will divide 50 by 4. So, 50 divided by 4 will get 12.5. So, ibig sabihin, yung Q sub 1 class natin, located siya dun sa, ang Q sub 1 natin, yung position niya is 12.5. So, kung i-trace natin kung nasaan yung 12.5 class na yon, nandito po siya sa 31 to 37. So, paano natin nalaman na nandun ang 12.5? Okay, so magbe-base po kasi tayo sa cumulative frequency. So, dito sa 24 to 30, we only have 11. So, 11 is less than 12.5. So, pupunta ngayon tayo dito sa kasunod na class. So, ibig sabihin, nandito po ang ating Q sub 1 class. Okay. So, since meron na tayong Q sub 1 class which is 12.5, okay, so, located po yung 12.5 dito sa 31 to 37. Okay. So, pwede natin siyang lagyan ng Q sub 1 dito. Yan, Q sub 1 class. Next, pwede na tayong mag-apply, mag-solve sa formula. Okay, so Q sub K, that is Q sub 1, equals LB. So, dun sa Q sub 1 class natin, dun matatagpuan yung lower boundary. So, yung Q sub 1 class natin, yun yung 31 to 37. So, ayan, kitang-kita naman yung ating lower boundary. Ito siya, 30.5. So, isusulat natin 30.5 plus, so ayan. So, kn over 4. So, ito po yung ating Q sub 1 class. Yung position niya ng Q sub 1, that is 12.5 minus the cumulative frequency before of the Q sub 1 class. So, since yung Q sub 1 class natin, yung lesson cumulative frequency niya is 20, okay, so greater than 12.5 na yun. So, kukunin po natin yung kanyang kasunod na mas mababa, which is 11. Kaya nga less than cumulative frequency kasi mas mababa, and that is 11. Next, over frequency of the quartile class. Okay, so yung 31 to 37 na class, ang frequency niya is 9. So that is why we will write 9 times the class interval indicated naman sa table, that is 7. So saka lang po tayo niyan magsisimplify. So Q sub 1 is equal to 30.5 plus, so 12.5 minus 11, that is 1.5 over 9 times 7. Next, ang gagawin naman po natin is i-multiply natin yung 1.5 sa 7. Okay, so 1.5 times 7 is 10.5. Or pwede rin naman po yung 1.5 i-divide natin sa 9, tsaka natin i-multiply sa 7. So either way, makukuha naman natin yung sagot. So 30.5 plus the quantity of 10.5 over 9. Next, Q sub 1 is equal to 30.5 plus the ratio between 10.5 and 9 is 1.17. So 1.17. So ang pinaka value kasi ng 10.5 divided 9 is 1.16. So 1.16. Yung 6 repeating siya. So we'll just round up to the nearest hundredths. And then i-add lang po natin yan. So 30.5 plus 1.17. Our final answer will be 31.67. So, is there a way para malaman natin na mali ang ating sagot? So, usually, ang sagot natin, nag-range dapat siya kung nasaan yung ating Q sub 1 class. So, as you can see, 31 to 37, nakapaloob po doon ang 31.67. Okay. Next, for our interpretation, therefore, 25% of the teacher's age is less than or equal to 31.67. Okay, so ibig sabihin, ganyan ang edad ng mga teachers na below 25%, yung lower quartile. So 31.67 years old sila. Next naman, we'll look for the Q sub 2 class. So kagaya ng ginawa natin kanina, so Q sub K is equal to Kn over 4. Then Q sub 2 is equal to the value of K2 times, again, the value of N is 50 over 4. Then multiplying 2 by 50, we will get 100. And then we will divide 100 by 4. So Q sub 2 is equal to 25. So 25th position dyan. So, saan natin matatagpuan yung Q sub 2 class? Okay, so, ito 11, hindi siya pwede. And then 20, mas mababa din siya sa 25. So, we'll get the next class, which is 38 to 44. So, doon po nakapaloob ang ating Q sub 2 class. Next, so since Q sub 2 class o yung possession ng Q sub 2 is 25, so nandun po siya sa 38 to 44. So ayan, pwede na po nating i-apply ngayon yung ating formula. So pwede nating isulat dito Q sub 2 class. So Q sub 2 is equal to the lower boundary. So what is the lower boundary of 38 to 44 class? And that is 37.5. So once kasi na-identify na natin yung Q sub k class, so kung ano man class yan, decile man, percentile, quartiles, madali na lang pong ma-identify yung ating lower boundary. Next, plus the quantity of kn over 4 minus cumulative frequency before all over frequency of the quartile class. So, kn over 4, sagot natin is 25. Minus the cumulative frequency before the quartile class, quartile 2 class, and that is 20. Mas mababa sa kanya. Tandaan, pag less than, mas mababa. So, kapag ginuha natin yung 37, ito, automatically, mali na po yung sagot. Kasi, greater than na yon. Over the frequency of the quartile class, that is 15. So, nanggaling nga 15. So, ito po siya. Yung frequency ng 38 to 44 na class. Times the class interval 7. Next, 37.5 plus the quantity of 25 minus 20. So, 25 minus 20 is 5 over 15 times 7. Next, Q sub 2 is equal to 37.5 plus 5 times 7, that is 35 over 15. So again, pwede nating i-divide yung 5 sa 15, yung nasa parenthesis muna, tapos i-multiply natin yung product sa 7 or mag-multiply tayo ng 5 tsaka 7. Tapos divide natin yung product sa 15. So again, pareho lang po ang ating makukuhang sagot. So 35 divided by 15 will get 2.33. Okay, so yung 3 dyan is a repeating digit. So pag in-add natin ang 37.5 tsaka 2.33, we'll get 39.83. So that will be the value of Q sub 2. So nakapaloob ba ang 39.83 dun sa quartile 2 class? Yes. So 38 to 44 nakapaloob po yung 39.83. So for our interpretation, therefore, 50% of the teacher's age is less than or equal to 39.83. So kumbaga yung pinaka-middle value, middle age ng mga teachers sa San Isidro National High School is 39.83. Okay, so 39.83 pababa. So now, last naman natin is Q3 naman, Q sub 3 class. So we're looking for the value of the upper quartile. So ganun pa rin, Q sub k is equal to kn all over 4. Q sub 3 is equal to kn, so that is 3 times the value of n, 50, all over 4. So 3 times 50, that is 150, divided by 4. So kapag dinivide natin yung 150 by 4, we'll get 37.5. So ito yung posisyon ng Q sub 3, yung upper quartile natin. Then we are going to locate for the Q sub 3 class on our frequency distribution table. So, are we going to use 37? Yung kung saan yung 37 na to, yung class na 45 to 51? The answer is no. It's because 37 is less than 37.5. So, kailangan hindi siya bababa dun sa kung anong class man yun. Okay, so we'll get the next class po, which is 52 to 58. So, nandun po yung ating Q sub 3 class. So, label natin Q sub 3 class. Next. So, yung location po ng Q sub 3 class natin ay nandito sa 52 to 58. Ayan. So, label natin Q sub 3 class. Next, we will apply the formula. So, Q sub 3 is equal to the lower boundary. So, lower boundary of the Q sub 3 class, that is 51.5. So, kapag wala tayong Q sub K class, hindi natin malalaman kung ano ang value ng lower boundary. So, lahat ng kinakailangan natin. So, doon pa lang dapat sa Q sub 3 class or Q sub K class, tama na po ang ating sagot. Plus, the quantity of Kn over 4 minus cumulative frequency before will lower the frequency of the quartile class. So, Kn over 4 will have 37.5. And then, yung mas mababa sa 37.5 is yung 37. So, by the way, sa pagpili ng less than cumulative frequency, so, usually, kina-consider natin yung kasunod na class na mas mababa sa kanya. Hindi natin pwedeng kunan halimbawa ang 11. Okay, so masyadong malayo na yon. So, usually, ang kasunod kung nasaan po located yung Q sub K class. So, hindi rin pwede ang 35 or 20. Kailangan yung kasunod, which is 37. Frequency of the quartile class, that is 11 times the interval, which is 7. Paano kung ang Q sub K class natin located siya dito sa pinaka lower class, lowest class natin sa 24 to 30? What will be our cumulative frequency before? So, based sa mga nakita ko na ganyan, ang ilalagay po doon is 0. Okay, so wala na po kasing mas mababa doon, kaya 0. Next. 37.5 minus 37, that is 0.5. Ayan. So, 0.5 times 7, that is 3.5 over 11. Now, if we're going to divide 3.5 by 11, we will get 0.32. So, add natin 51.5 plus 0.32. So, the value of Q sub 3 is 51.82. So, ayan. Yun po yung value ng Q sub 3. So, nakapaloob ba yung 51.82 sa 52 to 58? So, kung mapapansin nyo, hindi siya. Pero, kung i-round up natin ng 51.82, we'll get 52. Okay, so, hindi naman sa lahat ng pagkakataon nagkakatotoo yung kung saan located yung Q sub K class. Okay, so, as long as finalo mo naman yung process nung pag-solve using the formula, tama po yung inyong mga magiging sagot. For our interpretation, therefore, 75% of the teacher's age is less than or equal to 51.82. Okay, so, ayan po yung ating nakuhang sagot. So, ibig sabihin, Maaring 75% ng mga teachers, ayan, may edad na 52 hanggang 54. And then yung mga edad na 52 pataas, ayan, 25% lang po yun ng ating distribution. So what's next? So after we've discussed quartiles of group data, of course, yung kasunod niya is deciles of group data. So again, yung process natin dun sa formula, so ang napapalitan lang po dun is yung denominator. Okay, so pero yung process, almost the same lang siya. So again, pag quartiles over 4, pag deciles over 10, pag percentiles over 100. So dun pa lang, sa pagdetermine ng location ng mga values, kung ano man yun, decile, quartiles, or percentiles, mali ka na. So, wag mo nang i-expect na yung sagot mo is magiging tama.